What up, guys? I've been using the Pixel Fold for the last 2 days, so just 48 hours, first impressions, what my thoughts are on this device. A lot of good, a little bit of bad, and we'll talk about everything. We're going to talk about the build quality, the price, how it's been, battery life, and let's just start, guys. If you're new to the channel, hit that like, drop a sub. Now, there's no script here. This is just me. I don't even have bullet points. Usually I use bullet points, but today we're just going to talk. We're going to BS. And we're going to talk about the Pixel Fold. So let's just start with the look and the design and the build and the feel of this device. I love it. The back, this frosted finish on the back, it's clean, no fingerprints on here. Now the camera bump does get, fingerprints and smudgy. You can see it already just from doing that. You can see the little smudge right here just from touching it. But this black on the back, beautiful, and I love it. Now, this is a very heavy phone, but it's a lot heavier than I thought it would be too. I didn't think it would be this heavy, but it is thin. I do like how thin it is, but it is heavy. You will feel this in your pocket, but there's an upside to that because it's not very tall. It doesn't really bother you in the pocket. You know something is there because of the weight of it, but it doesn't feel bulky because it's a very, well, it's not a tall phone. So it's wide like a regular phone, but the height, you guys have seen it. It's not very tall at all. If we compare it to something like the OnePlus 11 Pro right here, you can see the difference in how tall this is. But that's, this goes into some of the good. We'll talk about the front display in a little bit. But the build quality and everything about this phone, it does feel premium when you open it, when you close it. The hinge on here is solid. It's actually hard sometimes to get this open. Like, I let people use it and they were like struggling to open this up. This thing will sit basically at any angle you put it. Well, see how it's heavy right there? It's heavy and it will fall over. So there is a spot where it just balances itself right on the hinge and right in the middle. But overall, it is a very premium feeling phone. So it does feel like you did spend a lot of money on this device, and well, you did. So I'm glad that it feels like that and doesn't feel cheap, but very nice phone. It feels fantastic in the hand. And one of my favorite things about using this device, on every other Fold that I have, and it was just Samsung Folds for me here in the States, but the Fold 2, the Fold 3, the Fold 4, it was rare that I used that device folded like this. And it was exactly the opposite. So on the Fold 4, the Fold 3, I would open it up, and that's how I would use that device all the time. Even texting, I would barely respond to text on that phone. This is exactly the opposite. So I'm using this device closed most of the time. And then if I want to binge watch, YouTube and check out everybody on YouTube, then I'll open it up and I'll go from there. But using this device closed is exactly what I wanted. The hopes that I've had for a long time on a foldable that we're going to be able to do that with, this gives me that. Using this device folded is the best experience I've had on a folding phone. It is the perfect size. It is the perfect height. I'm so used to a tall phone like we have here, whether it's an iPhone or the S23 Ultra, the OnePlus 11, even like the Nord 30. Those phones are tall. This, I wasn't sure how it would feel. I was more worried about just using it one hand. I thought I would use this sometimes and then open it and use that. But it's kind of like 80-20. I'm using the front display 80% of the time, and 20% of the time I am opening it. I'm even watching YouTube on the front display because it does look good on here if we go into landscape mode. So if we just go into landscape mode, you can see that does look good on the front display, and we have very thin bezels around the front as well. So watching content on here, either open or folded, for me is a win-win, and I'm a big fan of that. So using this device, of course, with one hand has, well, it's just been a pleasure, and I am very excited about where we're going with foldables. If this is the future, I feel like this will force Samsung to change it up. We know the Fold 5 is going to be basically like the Fold 4 and the ones before that, but the Fold 6, they will get a redesign, and hopefully we will get something like this, because for me, and you guys drop some comments and let me know, but for me, this is the perfect size for a folding phone. And then if you want to binge watch content on here, you open that up and you go full screen, and you still get that beautiful looking display on here. Now I do have it turned down because I don't want to blow it out, but the brightness is turned down just for this video. But the displays on here, that's where we'll go next. Displays on here are fantastic. It is bright enough even in direct sunlight. Now, of course, it's not great in direct sunlight, just like every single phone, but it is bright enough to where you're not really struggling to do anything, even in sunlight. And if you haven't seen that show, check it out. That is Baki, dope show. But so build quality on here is basically an A+. I love the look. I love the design. The materials on here are premium. It feels premium. It's heavy. The cameras on here, they're different than what we have on any other Pixel device, but the cameras on here are good. Here are just some quick samples. I'm going to do a whole camera test. I'm going to do a whole video test, but just some quick samples here of some of the photos that I have taken over the last 2 days with this device. But overall, it's a very good camera setup. Better than we get on the Samsung devices and the Fold. And that's another reason why I do not mind this bezel on the inside here that goes all the way around, because we do get a better camera that is built into the bezel. If you can kind of see it there, it is there. There is a camera lens up there, and we are able to take better pictures on the inside. But the cameras on the outside, they've been great. I don't have any issues with them at all. Even the front-facing camera on here is good. Now, one of the things that really bugs me and irks me about this device, and it's simple, it's you know, I'm nitpicking, maybe not, but every time I want to use this device. So when I grab my phone, right, it doesn't matter what phone I'm grabbing, I am so used to the power button and the fingerprint sensor being here on the bottom. But on here, and I believe it's on most Pixel devices, this is your volume. So your volume up and down are on the bottom, and then your fingerprint sensor and the power button are above that, and it just doesn't feel right. Like I'm always hitting the volume button for the fingerprint sensor because I'm used to that on other devices. And on here, they have it flipped and backwards, and I hate it. I literally hate it. Like, it's a problem. It's so much of a bother to me that I might return the phone because of it. And I know it's minor and I'll probably get used to it, but it really irks the hell out of me. It's something that I didn't think would bother me, but it does. But other than that, I mean, everything on here is good. Multitasking on this app, on this side of the app, has been great. So if we go into Twitter, and then if you want to go to a split screen, and then we'll go to YouTube, you know, I can watch YouTube and I can just scroll on Twitter. And I do love how easy it is to resize everything. Doesn't matter which way you are going, but it does feel really good just opening up multiple apps. And I really never used split screen and multiple apps on the Fold 4. For some reason, I just like it better on here. But the star of this folding phone is this front display. This front display on here is fantastic. It's just everything I wanted. The size, and again, like I said earlier in the video, the height of this phone, it's a lot shorter, but for me, it's perfect. It's an absolutely perfect size phone. And I'm kind of curious what I would think about just having a regular phone, just a regular candy bar phone that's not a folding phone at this size. I mean, let me know, give me some comments, give me some recommendations of a phone that is this size, and I'll pick it up and I'll try and use it as my daily driver. But this device right here, one-handed mode on here on the front display, has been great. The only thing that irks me about this device is the buttons and the layout of the buttons, but the fingerprint sensor, and maybe I'll go to face unlock instead of using the fingerprint sensor. Maybe that's a workaround for my button issue, but the fingerprint sensor on here has been solid. It's very quick, very fast. It usually works all the time. I've had, you know, sometimes it doesn't work. I've had some slip ups, but other than that, and we all know about Google and their software, usually sometimes it gets buggy. Sometimes in the beginning it's good and then it gets buggy? That's not a word. Buggy. Hopefully this is not that, but right now, 2 days in, the software has been great. The hardware, minus a few hiccups with the fingerprint sensor, has been really good. the camera system on here. I haven't shot too much video yet. I've been more focused on just using the device and seeing what bothers me, what doesn't bother me. A few photos here and there, but video is coming along as well. I will be shooting an entire video on video and see what kind of video we can get out of this device. But first impressions on this device, it's really good. It's probably my favorite. Well, not probably. Do I like this better than the Fold 4 and the Fold 3 and the Fold 2? I do. Form factor, it's better for me. It might not be better for you. It is much better for me. This is the design and the form factor that I wanted on a folding phone since day one. The cameras on here, better than the Fold 4. Now, the other thing that really irks me so far, and another thing that might be a deal breaker, is battery life. Battery life on here, now granted, it's only been 2 days, and I know a lot of you are gonna be like, oh, you gotta give it time. Look, usually you can get an idea of what the battery will be like just after a few days. It might improve a little bit. It's not going to improve drastically. And the battery life on this device so far has not been that good. In fact, it's been kind of poor. So, and your screen on time, blah, blah, blah. Everybody talks about screen on time. I'm giving you real usage. I would charge this up at night when I go to sleep. And remember, I just dropped a video about how I charge my phones differently now with like something like the OnePlus 11. That thing goes to zero to 100 in like 26 minutes. This is not that. So I'm back to charging at night 100%. I go to work and I go to the gym after, and then I come home and make a video, and I use the phone throughout the day, over and over, texting, replying, a couple phone calls, but not many phone calls throughout the day, checking emails and things like that. I'll watch a little bit of YouTube, but while I'm working, I'm not watching much YouTube. So it's mostly emails, maybe music at the gym, and you know, that's it. And text messages, really. And by the end of the day, when I'm home and the video is shot, you know, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, I'm at about 10%. So this thing is going through battery pretty quick, and I'm using it as much as I can, but I'm sure there are many, many like guys out there, guys and girls, that use this phone a lot more than I do Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday, it's different. I'm on this thing all day long, and I'll get a good idea of the battery life then this weekend. But the two things that bother me, so battery life on here, I'm not impressed at all with battery life. And of course, the button layout, which maybe I'm being a little picky with the button layout, but not my favorite buttons on here at all. Maybe I'll try face unlock, and that will get rid of that little issue that I have, but the battery life. But everything else, the speakers, the camera quality on here, I'm not going to talk about video because I haven't really shot any video yet. The displays on here, the brightness on here, the software on here, the tensor chip, the second gen tensor, it feels smooth and fluid. I don't have any issues right now with how this thing is performing. And it's my favorite design and favorite size when it comes to a folding phone that I've ever used. You guys have, you know, anybody that has, you know, the phones overseas that are available, which we do here, but I'm not going to import them. But anybody that's been using them, you already have a bunch of phones that are similar to this design and size. Here in the US, this is the first one that is kind of launched here in the US, and this is what I've wanted. So is it worth $1,800? I said earlier in the video, I think it's probably worth about $1,500. But first impressions on this device, it's definitely my new favorite foldable that I've used, hands down, and that's specifically because of the front display. The front display on here is exactly what I wanted. No issues with it. It's perfect for me in every single way. And the two downsides so far, the battery life has been poor and the button layout on the side. Not a fan of that. But that's it, guys. Just a first quick impression of the Pixel Fold 48 hours later. Let me know what you guys think. If you have one, let me know about your experience, guys. Hit that like, drop a sub. I'll be back soon. Peace.